Let me ask you a question, and don't answer it out loud. Just be honest with yourself. What if everything you've ever wanted in life, the money, the freedom, the respect, the peace of mind, what if all of it was sitting just one decision away from you right now? Not one more degree, not one more connection, not some miracle falling out of the sky, just one decision. See, most people think success is complicated. They think it's hidden behind secret shortcuts or luck. They scroll all day looking for hacks, watching other people win, wondering why life keeps passing them by. And the scary part is this: most of them are closer to success than they'll ever realize, but they quit too soon to find out. Because here's the truth nobody prepares you for. Success will test you before it rewards you. Life will ask you, how bad do you really want this? There will be moments when you're tired, moments when you're broke, moments when nobody believes in you, not even the people who said they would, moments when quitting feels like the smartest, safest option. And right there, in that exact moment, is where everything is decided. Some people walk away, others stay. The difference between the two, it's not talent, it's not intelligence, it's not luck. It's one rule. And if you can live by that rule when it hurts, when it's lonely, when it doesn't make sense, you won't just change your situation. You'll change your entire life. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't motivational talk. It's a survival rule. Let me tell you something most people will never accept, because accepting it means taking full responsibility for their life. The reason so many dreams die is not because they were impossible. It's not because the person wasn't smart enough, talented enough, or chosen enough. Dreams die for one simple reason. People quit. They stop when it gets uncomfortable. They stop when it stops being exciting. They stop when results don't show up fast enough. And the world never tells you this clearly enough. Quitting is the only thing that can permanently defeat you. You see, life is not designed to test your talent first. Life tests your endurance. It will let you start strong, feel inspired, feel confident, and then right when you think you're on the right track, it will pull the rug out from under you. Something won't work. Somebody will doubt you. Money will get tight. Progress will slow down. And in that moment, life is watching to see what you do next. Not what you say, not what you post online, what you do when nobody is clapping for you. Most people believe success is about motivation, but motivation is emotional, and emotions are unreliable. You won't always feel like waking up early. You won't always feel confident. You won't always feel strong. Some days you'll feel like everything you're doing is pointless. And if your plan for success depends on feeling good, you're already in trouble. Because the people who make it are not the ones who feel inspired every day. They're the ones who keep showing up on the days they feel empty. Quitting doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It looks like skipping a day, then another. It looks like lowering your standards. It looks like saying, I'll start again next week. It looks like convincing yourself that maybe this dream wasn't meant for you. But make no mistake, every time you quit in small ways, you're training yourself to walk away when things get hard. And life keeps records. Every challenge remembers how you responded to the last one. Here's the part nobody likes to hear. The moment you feel like quitting is usually the moment right before something changes. That's not motivation talk, that's reality. Growth is uncomfortable because you are becoming someone you've never been before, and your old self will fight you. Your environment will resist you. People around you will get uncomfortable when you stop playing small. So life applies pressure, not to break you, but to reveal how serious you are. You have to understand this. Every successful person you admire had a season where quitting made sense. A season where the math didn't add up. A season where nobody was watching. A season where they looked foolish for believing. The difference is they didn't leave. They didn't exit the process early. They stayed long enough for the struggle to teach them what success requires. When you quit, you don't just stop the process. You erase the possibility of learning what you were missing. Maybe you were one adjustment away, one habit away, one failure away from the lesson that would unlock the next level. But quitting cuts the lesson short. And life doesn't reward unfinished classes. There will be days when you have to move without clarity, days when the vision feels blurry and the results are silent. That's when discipline matters most. Not the loud, exciting kind, but the quiet discipline of doing the work anyway, of keeping your word to yourself, of choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. Don't quit when it's hard. Don't quit when you're tired. Don't quit when you're embarrassed. Don't quit when progress is slow. Rest if you must. Adjust if you must. Learn if you must. But don't quit. Because quitting teaches you one thing, and one thing only, that walking away is an option. And once that becomes a habit, success becomes impossible. If you stay long enough, something always shifts. You get sharper. You get wiser. You get stronger. What once overwhelmed you becomes manageable. What once scared you becomes familiar. But none of that happens if you keep leaving at the first sign of resistance. So hear this clearly. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need one rule etched into your mind and your soul. No matter how long it takes, no matter how heavy it feels, no matter how alone you get, you don't quit. Because the only people who truly fail in life are the ones who stop showing up. Failure has a bad reputation, and the reason it does is because nobody ever teaches us what it's actually for. From a young age, we're trained to avoid it, hide from it, feel ashamed of it. We grow up believing that failing means something is wrong with us, that it means we're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. But the truth is this: failure is not a sign that you're losing. It's a sign that you're in the game. Nothing meaningful comes without resistance. If you're trying to build something real, something lasting, something bigger than where you are right now, failure is guaranteed. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because you're doing something new. You can't step into unfamiliar territory and expect everything to work perfectly. Failure shows up when you're stretching, when you're learning, when you're moving beyond what you already know. And the people who never fail are usually the ones who never try. The problem is not failure itself. The problem is how people interpret it. Most people see failure as a full stop, as proof that the dream is over. But failure is not a period, it's a comma. It's life saying, pause, pay attention. There's something here you need to learn. Every failure carries information. It tells you what didn't work, what needs adjustment, what skills you still need to develop. If you listen closely instead of emotionally, failure becomes one of your greatest teachers. There will be moments when you give your best effort and still fall short. Moments when you follow the plan, do the work, and the result still doesn't come. That's the part that messes with people's minds. They start asking, what's the point? But here's what you need to understand: effort doesn't always pay off immediately, but it always pays off eventually if you stay long enough to collect the lesson. The reward is not always the result. Sometimes the reward is who you're becoming in the process. Failure has a way of stripping away illusions. It humbles you. It exposes weaknesses you didn't know you had. It forces you to look at yourself honestly. And while that can be uncomfortable, it's necessary. Success without failure produces fragile people, people who break the first time things don't go their way. Failure builds resilience. It teaches you how to stand back up, how to adjust, how to endure pressure without losing yourself. What most people don't realize is that failure is often a sign of alignment. You're being shaped for a level you're asking for. You say you want more responsibility, more money, more influence, but you can't handle more until you're tested. Failure is part of that test. It asks, can you stay committed when the outcome is uncertain? Can you keep working when the applause is gone? Can you separate who you are from what just happened? There will be times when failure embarrasses you, when people see it, when they talk about it, when they use it as evidence that you should have stayed small. That's when mental strength matters, because if you allow outside opinions to define your journey, you'll never move forward. Everyone who has ever achieved something significant has failed publicly at some point. The difference is they didn't let that moment become their identity. They treated it as an event, not a verdict. Failure also teaches patience. It slows you down so you can build a stronger foundation. Sometimes things don't work because you're not ready yet. Your character isn't ready. Your discipline isn't ready. Your mindset isn't ready. And instead of giving you what you want too early and letting it destroy you, life delays it through failure so you can grow into the person who can sustain it. If you quit every time you fail, you guarantee one outcome: nothing changes. But if you stay, if you study your mistakes, if you keep refining your approach, failure starts working for you instead of against you. What once knocked you down begins to sharpen you. You become more aware, more strategic, more resilient. So stop treating failure like the end of the road. It's not a dead end. It's a detour with purpose. It's part of the process that separates those who merely wish from those who become. The pain of failure is temporary, but the wisdom it gives you can last a lifetime. And if you have the courage to keep going, you'll look back one day and realize that the very moments you thought were holding you back were actually the moments pushing you forward. Motivation is exciting. It's loud, emotional, and powerful in the moment. It makes you feel unstoppable. It makes you start things with energy and confidence. But motivation has a weakness that most people don't want to admit. It doesn't stay. It fades. It disappears when life gets hard, when you're tired, when results don't come fast enough. And if your progress depends on motivation, your progress will always be temporary. Discipline, on the other hand, is quiet. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for the perfect mood or the perfect moment. Discipline shows up on ordinary days, boring days, painful days. It's what carries you forward when motivation is gone. The people who change their lives are not the ones who feel inspired every morning. They're the ones who do the work even when they don't feel like it. There will be days when you wake up unmotivated, days when doubt is louder than belief, days when quitting feels reasonable. Discipline is what tells you to move anyway. It's what reminds you that your feelings are temporary, but the consequences of your actions or inaction are permanent. Discipline is choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort, again and again until it becomes who you are. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. They wait for confidence, excitement, or clarity. But discipline understands something important. Readiness comes after action, not before it. You don't become disciplined by waiting. You become disciplined by practicing discipline. You show up messy, you show up unsure, you show up tired, and every time you do, you strengthen the habit of consistency. Discipline also builds self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you reinforce the belief that you can be relied on. That matters more than motivation ever will. Motivation may push you forward for a moment, but discipline changes how you see yourself. You stop seeing yourself as someone who starts things and never finishes. You start seeing yourself as someone who does what they said they would do, no matter what. The hard truth is this: nobody feels motivated all the time. Not the successful, not the confident, not the accomplished. What separates them is that they don't use lack of motivation as an excuse. They understand that emotions fluctuate, but standards do not. They set rules for themselves. They decide in advance how they will act, regardless of how they feel. Discipline is not about being extreme. It's about being consistent. Small actions done daily will outperform intense effort done occasionally. One focused hour every day beats a random burst of energy once a week. Discipline compounds. It builds momentum slowly, almost invisibly, until one day you realize you're far ahead of where you used to be. There will be times when discipline feels heavy, when it feels unfair, when you wonder why you have to work so hard while others seem to coast. But discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. It's shaping you into someone who can handle responsibility, pressure, and success. Without discipline, success becomes fragile. With it, success becomes sustainable. Discipline also protects you from yourself. It creates structure when your mind is chaotic. It keeps you moving when fear tries to paralyze you. It helps you make decisions aligned with your goals instead of your impulses. And over time, what once required effort begins to feel natural. Discipline turns actions into habits and habits into identity. When motivation returns, and it will, it finds discipline already at work. That's when progress accelerates. Motivation can amplify discipline, but it can never replace it. Discipline is the foundation. Motivation is just a bonus. So stop waiting to feel inspired. Stop negotiating with your feelings. Decide who you want to be and let discipline do the talking. Because in the end, Motivation may start the journey, but discipline is what finishes it. Comfort is one of the most dangerous places you can live in because nothing grows there. It feels safe, familiar, but that safety comes at a cost. The cost is potential. Every meaningful change in your life will demand that you step into discomfort, and most people never do, not because they can't, but because they won't. They choose what feels good now over what could change everything later. Being uncomfortable doesn't always mean doing something extreme. Sometimes it's as simple as waking up earlier than you want to, saying no when it would be easier to say yes, showing up when you'd rather stay hidden. Discomfort shows up as doubt, fear, uncertainty, and resistance. And the moment those feelings appear, most people assume they're doing something wrong. But discomfort is not a warning sign. It's a confirmation that you're growing. Think about it. Every level of growth you've ever experienced came with discomfort. Learning something new felt awkward. Trying something new felt scary. Taking responsibility felt heavy. But you survived all of it. Growth always stretches you beyond what you're used to, and stretching never feels comfortable. The mistake is believing that comfort equals safety. Comfort actually keeps you stuck in the same patterns, the same results, the same regrets. Uncomfortability is the price of admission for a better life. You can't build discipline without discomfort. You can't build confidence without facing fear. You can't build strength without resistance. Every time you avoid discomfort, you reinforce the identity of someone who chooses ease over excellence. And over time, that choice becomes a habit. There will be moments when discomfort makes you feel exposed, when you're learning and failing in public, when you don't look impressive yet, when you're doing the work but haven't earned the results. That stage is where most people quit, not because they can't continue, but because they don't want to look foolish. They don't want to feel awkward. They don't want to be judged. But the truth is, the pain of temporary discomfort is far less than the pain of permanent regret. Being uncomfortable also means outgrowing certain environments and people. When you decide to level up, not everyone will understand. Some will question you. Some will mock you. Some will try to pull you back to who you used to be because your growth makes them uncomfortable. And you'll have to decide whether you value their approval more than your future. That decision is never easy, but it's necessary. Discomfort forces honesty. It exposes your excuses. It reveals where you've been cutting corners and settling for less. It removes the distractions and makes you confront yourself. That's why so many people avoid it. It demands accountability. But accountability is the bridge between intention and results. At first, discomfort feels like punishment, but over time it becomes familiar. What once scared you becomes routine. What once felt impossible becomes manageable. Your tolerance expands. Your confidence grows not because things get easier, but because you get stronger. And that strength only comes from staying in uncomfortable situations long enough to adapt. There will be days when discomfort feels overwhelming, when you question whether the struggle is worth it, when you're tired of pushing, tired of sacrificing, tired of being patient. That's when you have to remember why you started. Comfort will always be there if you want to return to it. But progress only exists on the other side of discomfort. The people you admire didn't avoid discomfort. They mastered it. They learned to operate without certainty, without validation, without guarantees. They learned to move forward even when fear was present. And that's the real secret. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. If you want more than average, you have to live differently than average. That means choosing discomfort on purpose, doing the hard things consistently, staying when it would be easier to leave, because every time you choose discomfort in the service of growth, you are one step closer to becoming the person capable of the life you want. Most people spend their entire lives chasing comfort, believing that if they can just make things easier, calmer, and more predictable, they'll finally be happy. But comfort is a trap. It feels good in the moment, but it slowly shrinks your world. The uncomfortable truth is that everything you say you want, growth, confidence, success, freedom, lives on the other side of discomfort. There is no way around it. You either choose to be uncomfortable now, or you live with regret later. Discomfort shows up the moment you decide to change. The moment you stop accepting what is and start reaching for what could be, resistance appears. Your mind will question you. Your body will resist. Your environment will push back. Fear will whisper reasons to stay where you are. And if you're not careful, you'll mistake that resistance as a sign to stop. In reality, it's a sign you're moving in the right direction. Being uncomfortable means doing things before you feel ready. Speaking up when your voice shakes. Starting when you don't have all the answers. Showing up when you're unsure of yourself. Growth doesn't wait for confidence. Confidence is built by repeatedly stepping into uncomfortable situations and surviving them. Every time you do something that scares you and you don't quit, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. Discomfort also exposes your habits. It reveals how often you choose ease over effort, how quickly you retreat when things get hard, how often you delay instead of decide. These realizations can be painful, but they're necessary. You can't change what you refuse to see. Discomfort forces you to confront the truth about where you are and who you've been. And only from that honesty can real change begin. There will be moments when discomfort feels lonely, when the path you're on separates you from people who no longer align with your goals. Growth often requires distance from distractions, from negative influences, from familiar routines that no longer serve you. Not everyone will understand why you're working so hard, sacrificing so much, or saying no more often. That misunderstanding can hurt, but staying the same just to keep others comfortable will cost you far more in the long run. Uncomfortability is also where discipline is built. When you choose to act despite resistance, you strengthen your ability to lead yourself. You learn that you don't need perfect conditions to move forward. You learn that discomfort is temporary, but progress compounds. Over time, what once felt unbearable becomes manageable. Your tolerance grows, your resilience deepens. You stop running from challenges and start meeting them head on. The truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your standards. And high standards are uncomfortable. They require consistency when it would be easier to quit. They require patience when you want instant results. They require humility when you fail and courage when you must try again. Discomfort is the cost of maintaining those standards, and that cost is always worth paying. Many people confuse discomfort with danger, but discomfort is not harm, it's adaptation. Just like muscles grow by being stressed and repaired, your character grows through pressure and challenge. Without discomfort, there is no expansion. Without expansion, there is no transformation. You don't become stronger by staying safe. You become stronger by pushing past what you thought was your limit. There will be days when discomfort tests your commitment. When you're tired, frustrated, and tempted to return to what's familiar. In those moments, remember this: comfort offers relief, but discomfort offers change. Relief feels good now, but change builds a future. Every time you choose discomfort with intention, you are investing in the person you are becoming. If you want a different life, you must be willing to live differently. That means accepting discomfort as part of the journey, not as a sign of failure. It means understanding that growth is messy, awkward, and uncertain, but also powerful. When you stop running from discomfort and start embracing it, you stop being controlled by fear. And that's when real transformation begins. So hear this clearly and carry it with you long after this moment ends. Success is not reserved for the lucky, the gifted, or the chosen few. It belongs to the ones who stay, the ones who endure, the ones who keep moving when quitting would be easier. Every rule you've heard comes down to one final truth. Don't walk away from the process that's shaping you. There will be pain. There will be doubt. There will be days when you feel behind, unseen, and unsure. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're becoming. Nothing powerful is built without pressure. Nothing meaningful is earned without sacrifice. And nothing extraordinary happens inside the comfort zone. You don't need to know exactly how it will work out. You don't need perfect timing or perfect confidence. You just need the courage to keep going when the outcome is uncertain. Rest when you're tired, learn when you fall, adjust when you're wrong, but never quit on yourself. One day, if you stay long enough, you'll look back at the moments that almost broke you and realize they were building you. The struggle will make sense. the waiting will feel necessary, and the pain will feel worth it. So make this decision today. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how uncomfortable it feels, no matter how long it takes, you will not quit. Because the life you want is not ahead of you by luck. It's waiting for you to become strong enough to claim it.